Welcome back to G Fun Facts Online, the channel where we dive deep into the coolest, most mind-blowing facts from around the globe and throughout history. Today, we're heading to the sunny Aegean, specifically to the volcanic island of Therasia in the heart of the Cyclades. Get ready, because an archaeological discovery there is shaking up everything we thought we knew about the very beginnings of writing in this ancient part of the world. For a long time, the story went something like this. Minoan Crete, that legendary island civilization, was the cradle of writing in the Aegean. Makes sense, right? The Minoans were super advanced. But hold on to your hats, because recent finds at a site called Koimisis on Therasia are suggesting that the first sparks of symbolic communication might have ignited much earlier and across a wider area than we ever imagined. So, what's all the fuss about? Archaeologists digging at a Bronze Age settlement on Therasia have unearthed something truly incredible. A piece of pottery. Okay, I know, a piece of pottery doesn't sound world-changing, but this isn't just any old shard. It's the handle of a large storage jar, and pressed into it are two distinct seal impressions. And here's the kicker. These seals are dated to about 4,500 years ago. That's between 2700 and 2300 BCE. To put that in perspective, that's centuries, literally centuries, before well-known Aegean writing systems like Cretan hieroglyphs and Linear A even appeared. The research team has carefully labeled these ancient impressions THS.1 and THS.2. Now, why is one of these, THS.1, causing such a stir? This is where it gets really exciting. Unlike seals that were just pretty decorations or simple "this is mine" marks, THS.1 shows a structured, deliberate arrangement of signs. These aren't random doodles. They are uniformly sized, abstract, and stylized iconic elements. Think leaf-like shapes, spirals, and geometric patterns, laid out in a linear sequence across its three faces. This isn't just art. It strongly implies a meaningful order, a basic form of visual communication designed to pass on a specific message or identifier. And get this, it was stamped right on the upper part of the jar handle, clearly visible from above, suggesting it was meant to be seen and understood. What about the second seal, THS.2? It looks a bit more like what we'd expect from the early Bronze Age Cyclades, with geometric patterns like triangles and meanders. It was likely ornamental, or served a simple identifying purpose, fitting right in with established Aegean sealing traditions. But here's the clever bit. The fact that both a potentially textual seal, THS.1, and a more decorative one, THS.2, were stamped onto the same object points to a surprisingly sophisticated marking system being used 4,500 years ago. Imagine, they weren't just stamping things. They were using a combination of stamps to convey different layers of information. In the early Bronze Age Aegean, seals were serious business. They were tools, known as sphagistic devices, used to create impressions on clay ceilings. These sealings would be applied to all sorts of things, ceramic pots, baskets, even doors, to secure goods and show ownership or control. So seals were deeply woven into the economic and administrative fabric of the time. The Therasia jar itself adds another layer to this story. Analysis of the pottery shows it probably wasn't even made on Therasia. It likely came from Naxos or another Cycladic island. This is huge because it highlights just how active the inter-island trade and communication networks were back then. It also makes you wonder, what information did these seals carry? Could they have told people where the goods came from, what was inside the jar, the quality of the contents, or even who sent it or owned it? This is where the Therasia seals, especially THS.1, really start to challenge that old Crete-centric narrative. Remember, the earliest known Minoan writing, Cretan hieroglyphs and Linear A, popped up around 2000 BCE. The Therasia finds are significantly older. This means they could be a kind of missing link, or, at the very least, evidence that people in the Cyclades were experimenting with symbolic systems much earlier, perhaps in parallel with, or even before, the Minoans. Scholars have been debating other early hints of symbolic communication in the region for a while now, like impressions found at Aegean in Chios, and the mysterious arcane script from Crete. The Therasia seals share some fascinating similarities with these examples. It suggests that there were shared ways of thinking and a broader Aegean context for the development of complex communication systems way back in the late 3rd and early 2nd millennia BCE. Now, it's super important to be clear. THS.1 isn't considered a fully developed script with sounds tied to a specific language, like our alphabet, but its structured, linear arrangement of signs? That represents a massive cognitive leap. It's a jump towards symbolic thought and organized visual communication. It shows us the kinds of processes that probably led to the emergence of true writing, with seals being one of the earliest ways to encode and transmit symbolic information in the Aegean. The intricate art of carving seals, known as glyptic practice, seems to have been central to this evolution. The Therasia discovery highlights how these practices were becoming more complex. They were tied up with marking identity, controlling valuable goods, and the growing social hierarchies of early Bronze Age societies. Think about it. If you've got more complex trade and administration, you need better ways to mark and communicate information about goods and ownership. The Minoan civilization, which later gave us linear A and then the Mycenaeans gave us linear B for their admin, had huge trade networks and complex palace economies. These later scripts were essential for managing palatial centers, recording deals, and keeping track of resources. The Therasia seals predate these systems, but they offer a tantalizing glimpse into the very early stages of these administrative technologies. It suggests the need for sophisticated record-keeping and communication was already brewing in the earlier Cycladic world. So, these ancient seals from Therasia, they're more than just cool artifacts. They are crucial pieces in the giant, intricate puzzle of how writing actually emerged in the Aegean. They suggest that the journey towards literacy wasn't just happening in one place. It was a more spread-out phenomenon, and the Cycladic islands might have played a really foundational role, a role we're only just beginning to understand. What's next? Well, future archaeological digs in Therasia and across the Aegean will be vital. They could tell us whether these early symbolic practices were just local experiments, or part of a bigger, interconnected path that led to scripts like Linear A and Linear B. But what's already crystal clear is that these 4,500-year-old impressions have blown open exciting new doors for research. They're challenging long-held beliefs and promising to seriously enrich our understanding of this incredibly fascinating and pivotal moment in human history. The small volcanic island of Therasia, it turns out, might just hold a vital key to unlocking the earliest chapters in the story of Aegean writing. That's all for this episode of G Fun Facts Online. What do you think? Could these seals be the true origin? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the amazing world of facts. Until next time, stay curious.